All right, I'm going to call to order this meeting of the Barnstable Municipal Water Supply Board on Tuesday, April 15th at 6 p.m. around the Selectmen's Conference Room at Town Hall. This meeting is being recorded and broadcast on the Town of Barnstable's Government Access Channel. In accordance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapters 30A, Section 20, the chair must inquire whether anyone else is recording this meeting, and if so, to please make their presence known. All right, I guess not. So first up on the agenda is approval of the agenda, and I do want to make a quick edit. I want to add, just before operations, an introduction for our newest board member, Carlos. So,
Hi, my name is Carlos Barbosa. I've been here in the Hyenas in the Cape for about 38 years, came from Brazil, and I am a developer in town, and I'm looking forward to learn about the water system in the town, so in town.
we look forward to having you, and we look forward to the perspective you're going to bring to us.
Appreciate that.
Thank you. All right, so any other changes to the agenda? Is there then a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Louise. A second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
I'm saying because I wasn't here, right? Right. Okay.
And then next up, approval of the meetings from the previous agenda.
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Louise. A second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
You can vote because
I can vote, okay.
because you're on. You got
Yeah,
sworn.
I read the whole thing, so anyways.
All right. Next up, Kevin, operations report.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Let's start off with Monday, March 3rd. We wanted to welcome our newest addition to our staff, introduce him to everyone at the Water Board. His name's Charlie Buckingham. He's a senior at the Upper Cape Technical School in Bourne. As one of Veolia's continuing efforts to keep these very important relationships with the technical schools alive, Charlie was interviewed for the intern position as an O&M Technician 1. That's our entry level. Basically no licenses and no experience required. It's always nice if they come, but after a good interview, discussed internally, and we extended him the intern offer. Charlie works 40 hours a week, rotating every other week between studies 1 week and then working with us another week, hopefully training him to take on a full-time role after he graduates this spring. So looking forward to see if we can kind of keep that relationship alive. It's nice to get some youth coming into the department. Tuesday, March 4th, the staff was called to 14 Brookshire Road to inspect a service replaced by Bordelati from the curb stop to the house. Later that day, we had Bordelati up at the Mary Dunn treatment plant to install 2 new taps in the pipe gallery for new chemical injection points in the airport train. The 5th, we had activated Carbon Company to perform a carbon exchange on Mayor Well 1 lead vessel. The exchange was completed and filled up with system water. 2 samples were taken before the vessel was put back into service. In addition to that exchange, we also had Lane Christensen Company in to perform our annual inspection of the airstripping tower at the Mayor treatment plant. No immediate concerns were raised, and we are waiting for the final inspection report for the company. And if it wasn't busy enough of a day, we had Bordelati back out to 287 Ocean Street to investigate a potential issue with a sewer main due to a water main break in the same vicinity. After short investigation, it was discovered that during the water main repair, that the sewer was inadvertently crushed, causing a low flow issue for a customer. The sewer main was repaired, and all was back to normal. March 8th, Saturday, on-call staff called in for a service leak located at 711 Yarmouth Road. The leak was between the curb stop and the house. The water was shut off due to the size of the leak, and the homeowner was informed that the responsibilities was up to them to get a contractor to repair the service. The 10th, Monday, staff's called out to 55 La France Avenue for a report of a service leak. The leak was identified to be between the curb and the house. The homeowner was also informed service needed to be repaired by an approved contractor. The 11th, the crew responded to 45 Ripple Cove Road to turn off the water service to the house. Contractor was working on the property, hit the service between the curb stop and the house. We shut it off and they made the repairs. The 18th, started off with another carbon exchange. This time it was on well 1, number 2 lead vessel. Exchanged, completed and filled back up the samples, filled up with system water for the samples to be collected. In addition to that, staff headed to a water main break located at 176 Craigle Beach Road. Bordellotti was called in to repair that break. It was discovered that a radial crack was found on an 8-inch cast iron pipe. That was the cause of that break. And for those who aren't aware of what a radial crack is, it's basically a crack that forms right around the pipe. And usually as shifting, from temperatures warming up, getting cooler, and, just things like that, it just starts to kind of shear. They're pretty common, at least in certain types of pipe. March 19th, our staff called out to the old Kmart Plaza. Lawrence Lynch was working on site and hit the new water main by accident. We shut the main down. Lynch made the necessary repairs. We also had Bartlett Consolidated in to replace a fire hydrant that was damaged by a vehicle over the winter. That hydrant was located at 77 Winter Street. Damaged hydrant was removed and replaced with a brand new one. Friday the 21st, our staff had the pleasure of enjoying a little downtime and some good food with Hans and Sam. The staff discussed upcoming projects and tasks and got to spend some time getting to know a little more about Hans and Sam. I think it was a good experience for all of our new staff to put faces to the names. We have 5 brand new people probably within 6 months. So, other than hearing about these guys and all you guys and Daryl's, they don't know really anything. So it was good for them to kind of see who I talk about on a daily basis and, get to meet. They enjoyed it.
And we can also give them the perspective of the big picture of what we're doing as a board to help them out, to make sure that, they got the money to do the work they need to do, pay their salaries, and how we interface with the customers. And then sometimes give them advice. If you get feedback from customer stuff, let us know so that we can take that into, account when we make decisions.
Yeah, no, it's important.
You guys got a good crew there. Should be very good.
We're getting there. I mean, it's not easy training 5-6 new people, but I think hopefully as the months go on, they just kind of get in line and go with it. So the 24th, Monday, staff called out to the intersection of Bassett Lane and North Street. Digger Construction was doing work for the town. They ended up hitting a 6-inch cast iron water main stub that the town and us had no idea was in the ground. Our guys isolated the break so Digger could make the necessary repairs. Tuesday, the 25th, Bordellotti, again, was in town to replace another hydrant for us. This hydrant's located at 15 Locust Street. It was an old Eddy that was well past its prime. In addition to the replacement of the hydrant, Bordellotti also installed a gate on the hydrant branch to allow us to shut the hydrant down in the future and to not interrupt the water service to other customers. And Thursday, the 27th, staff were called out to 649 Scudder Ave to complete an inspection of a cut and cap on a service at the location. Joyce Landscaping was the contractor on site doing the work. And the 28th, as last but certainly not least, we'd like to congratulate one of our new employees, Juan Duran, on taking and passing his Distribution 1 exam. That makes 2 licenses for Juan, and I think he's been here like maybe 4 months, so he's plowing into it, and I think he's gonna have a pretty good future with us. He seems pretty eager.
Can I ask a question? You have
Certainly.
trouble finding labor for that?
Lots of trouble. This is the first time that we've been staffed fully in probably my 5 years I've been here, so.
I've been here for 5 minutes. I'm amazing. So how much repair you guys been doing in town? And nobody knows that.
Oh, it's insane. It really is. It's a busy place.
No one notices until they're telling their tap doesn't, water doesn't come out of their tap,
You got it.
or it comes out of funky color.
And then, the next page, just some highlights of some of the breaks we had. The radial crack break there on Craigle Beach Road and some other good stuff. And more importantly, the cookout that boys enjoyed with the gentlemen. Our deliverables are a little behind, but I think, the weather's been kind of killing us, but we'll catch up and get going. Meters and radios are unbelievably close to being done. Our AWW hydrants testing is gonna start picking up now with flushing starting. Hydrant painting's been done since last last fall. Our valves, they're starting to get going on those. Again, 5 new guys, you gotta teach them the basics of absolutely everything, so it's a little bit of a learning curve, but we're getting there.
You guys are doing a great job with that. The college stuff, there's certain, in the spring, we do all the flushing, and there's valve exercises, so certain things that we just do in conjunction with that. So you'll see this thing where there's a bunch of stuff, it's like 0% completed, or very low percentage completed, and then suddenly at the last minute of the fiscal year, because it happens to be springtime, it just all gets done.
So you flush twice a year or just one?
Just once.
Okay.
And actually, this time of year, so we just split crews, so now there's 3 to 4 guys or staff at night, work through the night on the first, I think we try and get it done within the first 8 weeks of the big ones, and then they kind of all fall into the neighborhoods and stuff afterwards and pick up, so. It's challenging within a couple of months as far as splitting the staff and seeing people passing in like ships in the night, so, but we're getting there.
Good.
That's all I got.
Yeah, looks like, revenues are recovering. And that looks good,
Yep.
catching up on received revenues, and billed revenues. The one thing I just wanna say, I'll ask Hans, so we do you'll see these carbon exchanges in almost every single monthly update. So I'm gonna have Hans talk a little more, but basically, we have to do these exchanges, and you'll learn more about it during your tour, but just give them a little idea of kind of the numbers we're dealing with those.
We basically have carbon filtration on all our wells. We have 12 wells total. And the reason for that is the PFAS contamination. And these filters take it all out till a no detect. What we do is we check them, or we test them every month. So we make sure that everything is safe. And what happens is the water from all these 12 wells go through 2 filters. The first filter, the lead filter, and then go to the lag filter. So what we do is we sample the wells, the raw water, because we want to know, how bad is the contamination, or did it improve, or did it get worse? So we want to have a good handle on that. And then after the first vessel, we check every month. And then based on that number, as soon as we get some bleed through from PFAS, then Kevin makes the call to the carbon exchange company. They come in with this huge truck, take the old carbon out, put the new carbon in, and then we switch it around. Then your lag filter becomes the lead, so we constantly basically use the carbon up as economic and as efficient as possible.
What's the life on that carbon?
The life, we probably have to replace 3, we have to do 3 exchanges per year per well.
At a price of,
It's about $20,000 per exchange. So each well, just to exchange, costs us 3 times 20 is $60,000 per well times 12. Not totally, but roughly. So you're talking, yes, the PFAS contamination costs us a lot of money.
All due respect, before I was complaining about the fee, about you guys, and, yeah, now I understand. Now
You're
I
not alone.
understand.
Yeah, it's not alone. We hear it a lot.
Now I understand why, it's a lot of money being, support this whole operation, so. And you see PFAS in all the wells, or?
Yes, and on different levels. The wells that are the closest to the Fire Training Academy obviously have the highest concentrations, but all of them have concentrations above the PFAS 6 mass DEP limit. After we're done filtering, they're all down to a no detect, so it's actually working well.
we're
Yeah,
way ahead of the curve of pretty
I'm
much.
sorry, I have a lot of questions, but I hope you
That's-
don't mind.
that's
So,
great.
No, not at all.
My wife is part of this study, and she's a chair of that civic association, and is part of this group that studied the PFAS. And I was part of the study also myself. And we have something in our blood, so that's
Yeah, I have high
minimal. but-
numbers.
Yeah,
I have high numbers in mine. Did you have tested, were you tested?
I was in that middle group when I did the test.
is that right? Yeah.
Above the middle.
Yeah. I didn't have like the super high one, but yeah.
No, I'm not, yeah, it's kind of low, you know.
But, you know, all those years of that, you know, PFAS exposure
Exposure.
as well. The good thing is we at least stopped it, so, you know, it's clean now.
Yeah, that's one thing, and I'm still part of, the silent spraying group that, you know, deals with communication part of that. And I also sit into the Barnstable County Fire Training Academy cleanup group by GCA. So I'm part of that group to just stay informed what's going on. Are they cleaning up? How good are they doing it? Where are they doing it? So we're comprehensively involved with everything.
I'm very glad of that. Thank you.
I don't have any more questions for Kevin. Does anyone else from the board have questions?
No?
All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thank
Have a great night.
You too. Awesome. Next up, we have Matt from DPW Engineering. So Carlos, Matt will come and deliver every month a big spreadsheet that talks about all of our capital projects we're doing, which is a lot. So,
Yeah,
Thank
it's not that I've got my home, so I'm not gonna share with you.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, here's an extra.
yes, we don't
Am I gonna
have
have
to
an episode?
no, in fact, no mics anymore.
Okay, well, hopefully my voice doesn't cut out on me, it's been in and out today, it's been fun. So, I'm Matt Roble, it's nice to meet you,
Nice to
Carlos,
meet
it's
you.
great to have you on the board.
Thank you.
I talk a lot during this part, but if you have any questions at the end of any of these, feel free to ask. First and foremost, we have project number 1 on the spreadsheet, the new well exploration program. I know that Hans and Sam are working on this in the background, but as my updates right now, I really have nothing to report on since our last meeting. Everything's still happening at a level higher than me. Item number 2 is our Mary Dunn pilot testing for the Mary Dunn wells and the airport wells. This is being done through our consultant Kleinfelder, who's also handling the straightway treatment plant design. Their project team is pretty well dedicated to that at this point in time, as are we. So I don't have much in the way of updates on this project either. And now that we have that project out to bid, my hope is that we'll start getting some movement on this. Item number 3, we do have the new straightway water treatment facility and the replacement of the Hyannisport and Simmon Pond wells. We've had a lot of movement on this project in the last month, between permitting approvals through Board of Health, getting the project out to bid through the procurement office, and holding pre-bid meetings with interested sub-consultants and general contractors for the project over the past week or so. So right now, we're actually going through the procurement timeline, basically answering any questions from the interested contractors. That'll help inform their decision on how they want to bid the project and what they want to assign for a dollar value for their estimate to complete the work. We met with them on site last Wednesday after holding a meeting at the Hyannis Water System office. We're fielding questions on the filed sub-bids until the 18th of April, and then we've extended an additional week for the general contractors to ask any questions they may have until the 25th. We'll be opening up, or filed sub-bids are due on April 25th. At that point, we'll be opening and reviewing those. And then another month later, on the 16th, we'll be opening up the bids that were submitted by the deadline on May 16th and making a decision of how we want to move forward with additional appropriation requests or otherwise after we get that pricing back. We have asked our contractors to hold their pricing for 90 days. That was made explicitly clear to them, so that'll give us some time to have flexibility to make those decisions. That was about as high level as I could make it, but there's a lot of moving parts with that. If there's any questions, I'm happy to answer it. All right. Item number 4 is our lead service line replacement project, also done via Kleinfelder. We're picking back up with this project after it went quiet for a couple of months. We're still compliant with all the Mass DEP and EPA deadlines related to the project, but we're working on getting their sub-consultant CDW to schedule inspections with any customers who are interested in follow-up inspections. were interested in inspections to begin with after they received all of the notification letters this past fall. And then any customers who had responded to the lead service line material survey that we sent out in September of last year, but didn't submit a response that was particularly useful, we're gonna at least reach out to them and give them the option to definitively determine what their material is. Kleinfelder's given me the list of all of the responsive customers, and we're gonna be processing that with Veolia's billing department to issue the $35 bill credits.
How many, excuse me, how many responded to it? I can't remember.
I can't remember offhand exactly. It was somewhere in the order of about 30 to 35. It wasn't a super high response rate,
Right.
but we're gonna try that effort again this next round of outreach with a longer response time.
Yeah.
Also probably try and time that up better with the summer and snowbird crowds returning.
Great.
That way, we're not sending them to vacant houses.
Yeah.
It does need to be done at random, so I don't really have control of who's in their house, unfortunately. Otherwise, I would avoid sending it out the way that we did beforehand.
I understand that. And just to give you a context, what this program is the EPA, as a result of what happened in Flint, Michigan, said all the water systems need to go out and determine not only if their water pipes are lead, but the service line that runs the house that we don't actually own, if that's lead as well. So everybody's doing this right now to try to basically build out data sets and maps that we can say. I think we're pretty confident that we found pretty much almost no lead.
Everywhere that we've searched and gotten conclusive answers, we don't have lead. I've had a couple of customers reach out that they have suspected lead, but that's been about the extent of it, other than the occasional lead gooseneck that Kevin and the Veolia staff have occasionally found. So, knock on wood, it seems like we're doing pretty okay so far. We're doing a lot better than a lot of people elsewhere. Next up, we have item number 5, the Route 28 and Yarmouth Road intersection project through Mass DOT, managed by Mike 2. Essentially, we're still just waiting on the as-built and tie cards to come back from them so that we can have it uploaded to our GIS system. Item 6 is the Route 28 East Sewer Expansion Project and Water Main Extension. This is a town-led project, also managed by Mike 2. Water work has been completed, still at substantial completion, and we're working in-house to have the as-bills updated via our GIS coordinator and the rest of our staff. Get that information on there for Kevin and the rest of the team. Item 7 is the Ocean Street Water Main Project, managed by both Paul Graves and Mike 2 of my department. Dirtworks has completed the majority of the water main installation, but since last month, they've just been having difficulties getting the pressure testing and disinfection afterwards completed. The pipe hasn't been maintaining pressure to date so far, so they haven't been able to proceed with finalizing the connection. Dirtworks is working on that continuously from what I understand, but they're just having some difficulty, and we want to make sure that we got a good product before we accept it.
Yes, very good.
So would love to have it, but not yet.
Better right than early.
I'm gonna pass around a couple of pictures related to item number 8, which is the Mary Dunn 4 well building, managed by Weston and Sampson, and also Tyler Gilman at my office. He's working on having the pay recs approved through our finance office for requisition number 7. Change order number 4 is in circulation for the generator pad and imbiber bead system that we had requested as a field change to better help with containment. The prefabricated building, as shown in the pictures, has been delivered. Big piece of equipment arrival with that, and kind of allowing us to continue with finalizing construction. Work is now resumed with the building in place. The contractors and the subcontractors working at the site have received all of their materials, and they're either on site or back at the contractor shop yards, just awaiting on schedule for their time for installation. So per Tyler, we're on track for the planned completion date, end of June, and we should have an operational well by then.
That was I had a chance to go out and see the building get delivered. It's all concrete. It does not look concrete. It looks beautiful.
It's weird how they can get that wood look, especially with like the roof lines and stuff.
Even down to collaborating siding that doesn't perfectly line up. Like it's been there a while. It's a beautiful piece, and it was really crazy to see this thing get picked up swung around with the crane and very, very carefully put down on the pad site. And
It was very Wizard of Oz of it.
very much so. Did they get the time lapse video?
I actually don't know. He had probably about 30 different pictures on there, but I don't know if he had any like slow motion
I thought
roll
he said something.
cameras.
If he does, let us know. We'd be happy to put him
Absolutely.
on our site and stuff. It was really cool. Thank you guys for letting me get out there.
I wanted to get out there, and then by the time that I went out there, it was already in place, and I felt like I missed all the fun.
Well, like half your office was there though.
Oh yeah, all the sewer guys were out there, which you usually don't want to see them at a water plant.
As long as they wash their hands.
They wash their hands, plus they touch computers, not water pipes or sewer pipes, fortunately. Item number 9 is the Mary Dunn 16-inch transmission main. I actually fortunately gotten some help with this. Mike 2 is going to be hopping on as the lead on this project just to get it over the finish line. I've felt very guilty about the fact that there hasn't been much movement on it over the last couple months. So he's helping get us through to construction level documents. We've re-engaged with H2 Olson on the project. And our goal at this point in time is to have the project ready to award to a contractor by end of June, with the hope that we'll be starting construction this fall.
Awesome.
We're going to be coordinating that with the Mary Dunn tank rehabilitation project, making sure we're not jammed up at the 2 sites. But the hope is that we'll be underway starting that work come September. Last item is number 10, Mary Dunn Tank 1 rehab project. We've gone through the procurement process, and we've had the project issued for bidding. That happened back on Thursday, April 10th. Got a pre-bid, non-mandatory pre-bid meeting and site walk this upcoming Friday at 11. At that point, we have another week until questions are due from any interested contractors. And we'll be expecting those back by the 28th, and bids will be due on the 8th. And at that point, hopefully we'll be awarding and lining them up to come out probably a week before Labor Day and be ready to hit the ground running right afterwards.
Great. And you guys did a tap on the main this past.
We did 3 insertion valves on the Scary Main.
Yeah. Do you mind just touching on this?
Yeah, so Mass DOT, similar to the 16-inch transmission main project, has installed a new leg of 16-inch pipe off of the existing 1911 water main that basically feeds Hyannis from the 2 storage tanks that you see off of exit 7, between exit 7 and 6 on the highway.
Off Mary Dunn Road, like the 2 that you see by that bridge there.
Exactly. So what the insertion valves were installed for were because we had concerns about tapping into the main line and losing our ability to shut off water from the tank site, having about 2 million gallons spill over the ground and roadways. So the insertion valves were installed in 3 different strategic locations so that when we began the tapping work that started yesterday, we could shut off those valves and control how much water was lost and quickly put ourselves back online after repairs were made. That was done north of the first tap and sleeve that was installed, south of that first tap and sleeve, and then north of the second one, and then the third one was installed right after the second tap and sleeve. So we could isolate it in either one of those locations. Whole reason for this was the DOT bike extension project, the 3rd phase of it, runs along Mary Dunn Road. There are areas of the pipe that are incredibly shallow compared to how deep we usually install them, anywhere from about 14 inches below grade, where we typically go for 5. Yeah, I've got some pictures of that where underneath the roadway it's not nearly as thick as you'd like it, but the pipe moves a lot of water and that's why it never froze. That being said, they are installing a new diversion section of the 16-inch main to allow the bike path to be installed so that it's not exposed at grade, or in some cases it would have been above grade of the bike path. So it's been a little bit of a hairy week getting through that, but we didn't lose water and we didn't make the news, so I'm pretty happy about that.
You guys did a great job with that.
It's great.
I gotta give credit to the contractors because we were just standing there and I'm like, nothing could go wrong.
Yeah.
So it'll be good to have the 16-inch transmission main project from our side squared away so that in the future we don't have this level of concern.
Good job with that, guys.
Yeah, exactly, or worry.
You've had a busy month. You've done a great job.
After all day, I'm gonna keep my shot in 5 minutes, that's it.
So you guys are doing a great job. And you've got a lot on your plate right now. So thank you.
I'm never bored these days,
Yeah.
but that's a good thing.
Does anyone else have
Good
questions about projects?
Seems like we're moving along.
All right.
Perfect. So
Matt, thanks for
by the
coming
next
out.
time that we talk, I should hopefully have some ideas of how much the plant's gonna be looking at, but if not, it'll probably be the next week after. All right, thanks for the time today,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Thank you.
Sam, do you wanna keep a copy of these? I mean, I can always get reproduced as these back at the office.
I'll hold on to Hans, we can.
And
Put 'em
I'll
up.
talk with Tyler about that
Yeah,
video.
that'd be awesome.
All right, thanks for the time today, everybody.
Thanks for coming out.
Thank you. Thanks for all this.
All right, next up, state of water supply conservation follow-up, so Hans.
Okay, yes, we were in a drought, and even after all this rain, we are still in a drought. And basically, I've been kind of waiting a little while to see if the state would lift or at least make it easier for Cape Cod and the islands, but they did not. So the rest of the state of Massachusetts is now in a level 1, mild
Yeah,
drought.
They
Except-
changed
Yes.
it this past month, but it was in the western part of the
That's-
state.
That's correct.
Their status
So there's
changed.
only two areas in the state that are still level 2, and that is the Cape and Islands
Mm.
and north of Boston.
Yeah.
So, last month, board meeting, the board did vote to put in the state of water supply conservation. We have to proceed with that because we have a water withdrawal permit deadline of May 1st. So from May 1st till the end of September, say October 1st, we are required to have these state of water supply conservation in place. So we're proceeding with that. I put a meeting in place. You guys were invited
Yeah, I saw that.
with DPW PR person, and I'm not sure if senior DPW people want to show up, but we need to get the okay from the town manager, so we're proceeding with that. And we're gonna have to put a public outreach on the web. We have to do a ad in the newspaper and hope that people will comply. So we're proceeding with that, and I also have to send in certified paperwork to the state, the water withdrawal permit people, that make sure we comply with all the permits, comply with all the levels of that. In practicality, we just had, a week of rain. I looked at the Marydon Pond, which is always a good bellwether, just north of the airport. The levels of the water in Marydon Pond are not as high as they normally are, but they're not super duper low either. So, I think the groundwater levels are such that there is a concern, but I don't think we have to go totally crazy about it either. I just, at this moment, it's just a matter of, make sure we put all the restrictions in place.
Yep.
And the other part of it is all our wells are refurbished. We went through them over the winter. I think we're in pretty good shape to get into the summertime. But a lot of it depends on, are we gonna have a dry summer? Are we gonna have a wet summer? How's tourism gonna be? How's the economy gonna be? Because, if all the hotels are full and all the restaurants are full, there's a lot of demand. But if it's not gonna be that busy this summer, then we'll be okay. So that's where we're at this moment. Any questions?
Yeah, of course I have.
Sure.
Well, I heard the politicians around here saying we have a water crisis in Cape. Is that true?
It depends on what the definition of water crisis is.
They claim because they have so many people coming to the Cape to live here,
Yes,
and we're gonna have a water crisis. Housing crisis, water crisis, and
yes, yes. You know, my opinion, that there's two different issues. I can't talk about housing because
right, no,
I
understand
can
that.
talk about drinking water.
Right, okay.
And if you look in the big picture, we have a large quantity of water, like the Cape Cod aquifer, okay? We only take out, all the water companies combined, only take out roughly about 10-15% of this
For the whole year.
for the whole year,
Okay.
yes. So we're only talking about a fairly small percentage of the total available aquifer on the Cape. The issue, though, is more quality than quantity. Because if you go and you look at our numbers, you can see that what we pump every year, actually even every month, is pretty steady. It's amazing how steady the water pumping and the water use is. Now, does it go up in the summer? Yes, of course it does. Does it go down in the winter? Yes. Are there, and it's actually kind of interesting, there are drought periods. It's kind of biblical because it's about every 6-7 years where you have this wave of, okay, you have a couple of wet years, then some intermediate years, and then a couple of dry years, and then it goes back up. But in general, quantity-wise, we're okay.
Well,
Now, in Hyannis, where we have a lot of build-out going on right now with apartments, right now we are able to cover that. Okay, so we have enough water. So in that sense, quantity-wise, there's no crisis. The issue really is quality of the water. And how do we treat for PFAS? How do we treat for iron and manganese? And right now, we had the issue actually it came to a head in 2015, 2016. Right now, we're in a place where all our water is filtered. We have a very strong and financially good way to proceed to build the treatment plants we need to build. And yeah, they're god-awfully expensive, but we are financially able to do that. The problem becomes long-term, and I'm talking about 20, 30 years away. Of course, I'll probably be dead or retired at least, but you still, we have the responsibility as a board and as the DPW, management to look and plan for long-term. Long-term, we need new wells, and we need them upstream from potential problems. So you don't want wells close to the shore, because in general, groundwater flow basically comes, groundwater flows down the hill. So the highest spot is where Route 6 is, and then it flows south towards the ocean
And north towards.
and north
Bay.
toward the bay. So strategically, the best spot for new wells is somewhere high up. Because in that way, the chances of the groundwater gets contaminated is less.
Okay.
So that's basically why we're looking to get new wells right along kind of Route 6 in that area. We're looking in West Barnstable, we're looking in Barnstable, the village of Barnstable. Because it just strategically makes the most sense to put your drinking water wells, upstream from everything else.
But
But-
explaining that falls, that new exploration falls in other water district
Okay.
jurisdictions, so that brings another issue to the forefront,
And so that, like, that first item that you'll see on our agenda, on the CIP, or the capital plan, is gonna be that's what that new well exploration program phase 4 is. So we were ready to move forward with drilling a second round of test wells out in West Barnstable.
And Barnstable.
In Barnstable, and we ran into some very strong community opposition in certain areas. And because of that, it's moved from being a technical question of, is this the right spot to put wells? How much does it cost? How much does it cost to pipe it in, to a political question of, people in areas saying, well, you're gonna drain our personal wells are gonna go dry because you're gonna suck all the water out of the ground. It's not your water, it's our water. It's moved to that political issue of.
If you, I don't mean to hijack.
No.
The meeting over here. Well, the reason I'm asking is because the numbers that appear out there, I'm not sure if the number is correct. We need 4,000 residents in the Cape today to supply the housing shortage here. Not in the Cape, I'm sorry, in Barnstable. So 4,000, it's gonna affect, people think that for people who come from off Cape to live here, no, so people who live here, we need 4,000 residents today. So is that gonna affect if you increase the number of housing and you need more water consuming, of course?
So we're doing some things in the short term. So, for example, doing this new Mary Dunn Well 4 building. So we're reactivating a well, putting it online. Building these treatment plants, as we had that conversation earlier about the carbon. We've got one of our biggest wells, we run, the tap's barely open on it because it's got so much iron and manganese that we're blowing through our carbon in like a month if we ran it full stop.
Really?
At $20,000 to replace it, we just can't afford to do that. So our phase 3 plan is we're gonna build Mary Dunn treatment plant. That'll allow us to have green sand filtration. And this is all the stuff you'll see in the tour. That cleans iron and manganese out. It settles it. It's a really cost-effective way to get that out. So you're not putting it into your carbon filters that are further on down the series. So doing things like that will incrementally allow us to pump more water into our system without having to go do wells. So that's kind of, say, your 5 to 10, 12-year plan to add water capacity. And then beyond that, you say, all right, we're doing, with the existing wells we have, we're pumping as much as we can. We have to now go find new wells. So I think as the political side, I think we could do it.
Well, the question is, you budget for all the stuff and all of a sudden the federal government cut the grants, and what do you do then? The town don't have enough money to support you guys to do that.
But there's a couple of different things. The easiest thing to do is, of course, raise rates, and then everybody
Right.
screams. So what you have to do is, you have to very critically look at both issues. The rate issue, and we do that every fall.
Yep.
And you will be impressed, because it's good. I think it's really good. And then the other thing is, okay, each project we do, each capital project, we have to evaluate, is this really necessary? Or can we push it off 1 or 2 or 3 years? And that's basically how you balance out and how you finagle. Just in every household, you finagle. You don't have endless money coming in, and you always have endless wants and needs, and you got to figure out what the difference.
What's your priority?
What is need
Yeah.
and what is want.
Right.
And for us, it is a combination of quantity, but right now it's really quality of the water. We got to make sure we can pump maximum capacity out of our wells and treat maximum capacity.
And
That is the quickest way to increase the total volume of quality drinking water.
The absolutely crazy thing when you actually think about this, we built a system to deliver drinking water, quality water, to our system at firefighting capacity. Our capacity really at the end of the day comes down to fighting a fire.
Okay.
So on a day-to-day basis, we do pretty damn well minus, occasional mornings in the summer with lots of irrigation systems running. And that's something else we can go to. That's another option potentially. It's a political option, is to say, no new irrigation systems. You got to go in your own private well for that. There's ways that we can move some demand out of our system down the road that's non-drinking water use, like irrigation systems. So we've got a fair number of levers to play with. And I think, you know, I'm a pro-housing person. I think we can meet the challenge to provide housing on the Cape.
That's great, good to know. Being the builder, so that's good to know that.
Yes, but it's a dance. It is not easy. It's not like 1, 2, 3, flip a switch, you're
Right,
done.
I got
It is a lot of planning, a lot of thinking, getting all different opinions and figuring out a path forward.
And I believe that every 20 years or 30 years, you guys upgrade the equipment too, so it costs more money, or maybe less than that, right?
It depends. It's tough. Basically, motors and pumps, they last, if you treat them well, they last about 5 years.
So,
Okay? Some of these motors and pumps, we burn through them every year. Like the Meriden 1 well, full of iron. That pump is gone every year, every other year. Just because the way it's constructed, a thick layer of iron builds up and it isolates it and can't cool and the motor burns out. So there's a lot of things. On the flip side, we have over 100-year-old mains, water mains that are still good.
Fire hydrants.
So it's a very mixed bag. So we basically, what we do in general, we evaluate each piece of equipment, and on top of that, you know, I kind of like historic buildings, so I like the older stuff as long as it's in good shape.
right.
So if you can fix it up, I'd rather fix it up than just bulldoze it and put new up, because most of the time you don't get the quality. It's very difficult.
If people can, I'm gonna actually jump in our order of our agenda to talk about our FY26 rationale request, and
Actually, no, we can't, because we have to do it.
we have to do, okay, all right.
I'm sorry,
Well,
I didn't mean to take a lot of time.
No, that's a great question, and
No,
we're
that's
actually gonna
good.
cover this to an extent about when we talk about in a few minutes, our rationale, because we do put in money, you'll see, every year to maintenance and upgrades,
Right.
in addition to building the big plants and stuff. But those are they're all great questions, and they're, you know, important parts of understanding
Yeah.
this massive
Keep
system and how it.
asking. Keep asking.
So
We
keep
love,
asking.
yes, absolutely.
So do you mind if I move to rates quickly?
Okay.
This all fits together, so the next agenda item, fiscal year 26 rates, public hearing. So to give you a little context, so in the fall, we review our rate model every year. We have a third-party company that builds this amazing Excel model. And we have all these things we can plug in and start adjusting, fine-tuning to try to get those rates, to get done what we need to get done, but also keep those rate increases as small as possible. And one thing that's great, we do those every year. We don't set it and forget it for a couple of years and then go at the end, oh my God, we're way out of whack, we have to jump rates huge amounts. Because obviously it impacts developers, it impacts people's bills, their monthly bills. So we do that, we go through a first read, Hans and I and Mark Milne from, he'll work with us, and we basically fine tune the model, come back to a second read of the rates, then we'll as a board vote on them to make a recommendation. That'll go to town manager. He will he'll review, do a public hearing, which brings us to the point we are now, which is, we had the public hearing. We had our 30-day wait period, is that correct, Hans?
We're in the middle of, I think the 30-day period is, oh, no, yes, you're right. I think the end of the week, or the end of this week,
Yeah.
it's up. So
Yeah.
we'll see something coming from the town manager's office.
Yep, so what'll happen is the public has 30 days to comment on the rates, and then the town manager can either choose to approve our rate model, our rates for next year, or tell us something different, you know, because we as a board are still an advisory board to the town manager. So we recommend things to him, but it has to be his office that officially puts the rates into place.
Yeah, and the way he looks at the rates is very different from us. You know, we are basically just looking kind of with blinders on, based on water only. What are our projects, what are our revenues, what are our expenses, blah, 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 okay? And we do the best we can with what we got. His job is different. He looks at it, okay, wait a minute, the water supply division, because we're all part of the DPW, we're all part of the town, is wanting a 5% rate increase. The transfer station wants a 10% increase. The sewer wants whatever. It doesn't really matter. So what his job is, he needs to balance it all out and say, wait a minute, most of the time, the ratepayers for the sewer also are the ratepayers for the water. And they also gotta get rid of the trash at the transfer station. So we can't have huge rate increases on all these three different levels. So his job is more looking over the whole town and basically balancing all the different departments out and saying, hey, you guys really can't have this much. Just try to find ways to cut it down. So his job is different. He looks at it differently.
So the recommendations to the town manager, not to the town council.
That's correct.
That's right. So, your process, none of us are appointed or elected or voted in by town council.
That's what you told me yesterday, that, town manager.
We respect town council because they will vote on things like our capital improvement plan, the money we borrow and spend, but on a rate level, we report to town manager. I know we're throwing a lot at you here in your first meeting.
No, please, keep going.
Don't worry, there will be a quiz at the
Keep
end.
those questions from the back.
So kind of that moves in into next, the fiscal year 26 CIP town council public hearing and vote will be Thursday. Thursday at
Yep.
6. We are tentatively early on the list. So maybe we'll be not sitting there until 11 o'clock, 11:30. I'll let you talk a little bit about, do you want to add anything to this, or should we wait till we get to the
Basically, the board is welcome to attend. It's a public hearing, so you will, but you don't have to. If you have, but I'll be there. I'll have a suit on. I'll be part of the DPW, and we do our presentation, answer the questions if town council has it. You can watch on channel 18 too.
It's good because you sit there and you listen to not only your stuff, but what the other departments are bringing in. Usually town council says yes, but occasionally you'll see them grab something. And last year, not to pick on the airport, but the airport had something that they put forward that certain members of town council really took issue with, and they ended up actually denying them that money, even though they're in an enterprise account like us, because they felt it was not a good use of funds. And so we still want to go there and make the good case before them, whether it's anything from our small, just maintenance programs to full treatment plants. So yeah. So then I guess that rolls right next into the review of capital for fiscal year 26.
Yes, we basically have two projects that are gonna be voted on by town council. One of them is the annual pipe replacement and upgrade program. We're requesting $1.5 million. And this is basically a pipe replacement program that is taking care of our 100-year-old system. We have 100-year-old pipe, and we can't possibly replace all of them at the same time, so we do little chunks at a time. For this year, we're planning to work together with the sewer expansion program and replace AC pipe, asbestos cement pipe, in the same area as where they're planning to put in sewers. And this is a project in the Longview Drive area, so between Phoenix Lane and Route 28. There's a neighborhood there that is going to get sewered, and it just makes a lot of sense to do sewer and water at the same time. Okay?
We kind of split the cost then on cutting the road open and some of that stuff, so.
Yeah, it saves us money.
Anywhere we can go find a few dollars to save in doing a project, we do look into that.
On my interview with the town manager, I asked him, how come this board, they don't have sewer with water? Why they separate? Or sewer, I don't know if they have a committee of sewer.
I can answer that.
I don't want to find out more work for you.
No. I think it's a great thing to discuss, okay? The bottom line is, it's a political decision, okay? Because I'm thinking in a sense the same as you. Water and sewer, yeah, one is clean water, the other one is not. But it's all, technically, you deal with pipes, you deal with treatment systems. It would make the billing so much easier. There's a lot to be said on a technical basis and on a financial basis to combine it. I agree with you.
But the thing is, so we have five water districts in the town.
Uh-huh.
We've got Hyannis, Calm, Barnstable Village, Katuitt, and then West Barnstable has no water system, but they're a water district. So then you have a question of, well, how do those interface with a single town, especially now that we're going to a truly town-wide sewer system? How do those all interface with each other? How would, do you have like a single board of us that's oversees sewer with someone else's water? It's, to put it bluntly, it's political fiefdoms to almost an extent, and everyone, doesn't want to give up what their area is. And on top of that, like for us, Hyannis Water System we were a private company until the town acquired us. So we weren't, before about 20 years ago, there wasn't even one of us, this board didn't exist, right, Hans?
That's correct.
Didn't exist to
Yeah,
report.
and that is the other part of it, is the history is important in how we established what happened and why. See, the wastewater system and treatment collection system, it's been for the town, in the town for a long time, 13 or 20, so pretty close to the age of this water system. But that was always run by the town with town employees, so there's a history there, okay? The history of the Hyannis water system is very different. It was a for-profit, run by a private company, for money, a lot of revenue, the littler the expenses, typical for-profit. And there's nothing wrong with that, except when you have, dilapidated treatment plants and pump stations, etc. So the town bought the water system in 2005, and because we didn't have that history of town employees, we basically opted to go contracted operations, basically contract out the operations. So you don't have town employees except Marcia and I, and some of the engineers. So it's a very different way, and it's really difficult with the unions, with rules and regulations, budgeting, to switch from one to the other. So those are the negative parts. There's all kind of budget issues too. It's not easy, but technically and financially it does make sense. And that's my opinion. It doesn't mean anything because it's not going to happen anyways, but.
But as you said, Veolia has been, they've been a really good company to run it and to do all the maintenance, and we couldn't replicate that. The town could not replicate that.
You talk
that
about the
kind of
water?
work. Yeah,
Okay.
Veolia, as we're contracted
Yeah.
with Veolia.
So we don't know anything about the sewer company or the town. The town run the sewer?
The town, DPW runs the sewer.
Yes.
And,
Yeah.
and I sit on a ad hoc committee for the sewer, and this is part of their 5-year look back and their 5-year, looking forward. And that we will come up with our recommendations for the town council by December. So, and it's, the members it's quite a mixed bag of community, people from the community and science, So, anyway, but that's just a ad hoc committee to the
That's another issue with the housing, you know, increase the sewer part of it. And,
Yep.
But anyway, I don't mean to hijack.
No,
again.
these are really important questions to ask, so.
Okay, so this was the first CIP that's gonna come up to a vote. That's the pipe replacement program. And that's basically happening every year. It's a recurring program. The second one is a pump station and treatment plant repair and upgrade program. That's $200,000. We use that also every year to upgrade all the wells, the buildings, the roofs, windows, doors, security systems, motor controls, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. And we have, actually, I just got some help from Mike Chu, one of our DPW engineers. And we have about 32 different buildings. And they always need work. It's a never ending.
So to go back to your earlier question, that I kind of punted on, this is where I punted it too, is that this is what we do every year too, maintain systems so that we're not facing a cliff in 20 years of a bunch of stuff failing all at once. Because at least for me, the scariest thing is one of our big wells going down July 3rd, July 2nd, with the busiest water demands in. Damn near happened last year, actually. We had a lightning strike that took out an offline SCADA system that communicates, so all the wells operate automatically based on a series of different, criteria for demand. Am I right? That got fried. A part of it got fried, and they had guys out there July 4th morning at 2 a.m. opening valves, turning wells on manually to make sure we had enough water. Yeah.
It's amazing, people don't know that kind of thing, you know.
Yep, that's the water business.
And you got your last piece of the machinery for that just recently, right? So it took that long to completely repair that one thing from July to last month or something?
Yep.
Or-
Yeah, there's so many different, if a building gets hit by lightning, the repercussions are a lot. And lots of times you don't immediately find out everything, so.
And one thing on this review for capital I just want to touch on, you'll see a sheet, I think if Hans has not given it to you, he will, that's a kind of, we have each all assigned groups of town councilors, so that going into this, especially when we go for the big stuff, we talk to them and explain what's going on, and also give them a place where if their constituents have questions about our system, they can reach out and say, oh, I know someone I can talk to about this, we'll get you the answers.
Is there a liaison from town council here on this?
We do it kind of more the inverse, where we each take 2 to 3 town council members
Okay.
and say, just touch base with them once a year, say, hey, I'm calling from the board, do you have any questions?
Yeah, and that's
We,
what this is.
that's what this, you'll see this sheet, and it's got all their contact information.
Package.
And we'll redo this probably this summer, maybe, now that you're a new board member. And like last year, we offered tours to them. We said, hey, come out, we'll do town council member and, town committee member people, chance to come out and see the system and see what, all this money that we asked for, what it goes into.
Right.
So do you want to talk any more about the CIP? You good?
No, I'm good, because it's only 2 projects.
Yeah. And speaking of water plant tours, we are also going to do public water plant tours on June 7th. So we've decided I'm going to be there, Hans will be there, from at 9 a.m., 11 a.m., and 1 p.m. We can do about 12, 15 people at once on tour. We take them back, we do them at our Maher facility. So we'll take them in, we have information, they see what a world-class water treatment plant looks like. Talk about kind of how the system works, all the steps the water goes through. It's really cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna plan to do that too. I'm with Hans and.
You'll get the full tour with Hans.
Yeah.
That's good.
So if anyone wants to stop by from the board to say hi, we'll be there, and
Well, I plan on.
thank you, yeah.
Maybe with a baby.
We can go baptize it
Exactly.
in the water treatment plant.
I have to throw a wrench in this one, because you can't have more than 2 water
Oh, yeah.
board members,
No, that's true.
Oh, okay.
because otherwise it's considered a meeting.
So I'm glad to do with you, but I'm glad you, if you have only one, so I'll be glad you'll be there.
We also
Figure
can,
we've got
we can
3
switch people
tours.
in. If someone
Yeah.
wants to come in and be there for one of the tours, you
Yep.
know, I'm happy to step aside for, you know, a while, take a break. So,
Give directions. Last time we had to give directions.
and generally we have someone up front kind of collecting everyone as they arrive, and then someone
Yeah.
with Hans on the tour just helping herd the cats, so to speak. All right, last up for things, Amy obviously stood on our board for, I think, 1 cycle, which is 2 years, all right? She was great. She was the one of our 2 commercial board liaisons, brought a very unique perspective, I think. Was a great board member. She decided that, you know, she enjoyed doing it, but it was time for her to take on some new challenges. So we want to thank Amy, especially on the public record, for her time serving on the board. We'll have a little plaque for you as a thank you for your time. And it's, you know, it's a lot to take these, to serve the public. And so we're really appreciative of her time, and thank you, so. And we're also very excited to have Carlos on now, and
Thank you. This has been amazing for me so far, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get more information, so. But I'm glad to be part of this group now, because I wanna learn about it.
Thank you. Thank you for stepping up to do this. And
You know, next time people complain about the water feed, I'm gonna tell them, don't do it, because you have no idea what's going on.
so that's all I have. Does anyone else have anything they want to add? I have nothing else to add to the agenda. This is the matters not anticipated by the chair section. Hans, do you have anything?
No, I'm good.
Well, any more questions?
No,
for the moment?
actually, I just wanna make sure that you guys know that, how I appreciate to be part of this group now, and, I'm gonna do the best I can to be part of full, complete time, and because I travel a lot to Brazil too, so I have business over there and business over here, so we work in Nantucket also, but I'll be here as much as I can, so.
The great thing is we try to do 2 in-person meetings a year, but we also know that everyone here is busy and has jobs and lives, so that's why we do most of them via Zoom. So if you're
Yeah,
Brazil or
Zoom,
Nantucket,
easy.
you can still have these.
Yeah.
It's nice to see each other in person.
That's right, yeah.
And where do you live here?
Hyannis, right on the 7th Street, on a condominium.
Oh,
there.
on Steve, oh,
Yeah,
okay.
flagship.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
And my office is 535 South Street, across from the Brazilian Grill, and the South Street.
Oh, okay.
And the new property that we have next to the water pump over there now, the 11 Potter.
Right.
So
And your wife is Betsy?
Betsy Young, yeah.
Yes.
She's part of the.
Yep, I know
civic association,
Betsy from the store.
yeah. And she have a store here, Main Street too,
Yep.
yeah.
So I never connected you guys.
We've been married we've been together for 28 years. We've been married for 9 years now, so.
So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Last step, motion to adjourn? No, sorry, I cut you off there.
Huh?
I cut you off.
No. I move to motion.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
There you go.